Log into gyroscopeme.com, the hottest online radio station in the world. GS Radio all day, all night, worldwide. Powered by Gyroscope Media Group, LLC.
GS Radio, the best internet radio station worldwide. Providing the best in music and talk shows. Go to www.gsradionj.com and check out the best internet station in the world. You're listening to GS Radio, internet radio station powered by GMG LLC.
Soulful House Nation. Get ready. Soulful House Nation. Get ready. Soulful House Nation. Oh yeah. Soulful House Nation. Soulful House
Get ready. Ladies and gentlemen, I am DJ Dan, Soulful House Nation. I'm coming to you live from the 8th floor. Oh my goodness, we have a great one today. Now, what I want to share with you is what you can expect today. So, first we're going to do just a quick recap. Last week, as you know, we had Casio and Frankie Esteves from Fusion. And that was a great interview. Then next, so go back and check that out. Then also, we're going to play the hottest song according to Track Source. That's Mickey Moore, Andy T, and the Reverendos. And it's Groove Culture. It's called Devoted. As usual, we only play a little snippet of it because, you know, Facebook has this nasty little habit of shutting us down and muting us out. So we're going to play a little snippet of that. But I also want to take a minute to just give just a big shout out to Ariel Shante and King T Finesse for putting out our new, for making our theme song. But also, too, I want to tell you that King T Finesse has a new track which we're going to play in the Shazam Free Zone. Also, so let me tell you something. Then we're going to talk about a few things that are coming up. Next, we're going to play a classic. And after that, we're going to go into our interview. Now, listen to this. I had a conversation yesterday. We recorded the interview with Cynthia Tucker yesterday. But I need to tell you that it was so good we kept going past our usual time. So what we're going to do, we're going to break it up into two parts. So today we're going to run the first hour. And then next week we're going to finish it up. All right? Now, after that, we're going to do the Shazam Free Zone. I have all new music I'm going to play in the Shazam Free Zone, including King T Finesse, Let 'Em Go. Also, going to play my new track with Jeffrey C. called Adrenaline Rush. Okay. And quite a few other tracks. So, after we do that, again, we're just gonna have a great time. So I'm gonna ask that if you're on the live here, we're in multiple locations. We're on, of course, Facebook. We're on the website. We're on YouTube. We're on Vimeo. We're on Twitch. We're on Roku, and a bunch of other places. So, again, if you're here, share it. We have Cynthia Tucker coming up in a little bit. And man, that was a great interview. We talked about a lot of stuff, a lot of stuff. So, Chuck, why don't you play Devoted? That's Mickey Moore, Andy T, and the Reverendos, Groove Culture also. And we're going to play a little snippet. We're going to come back to you. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, as usual, we had to give it the old heave-ho because Facebook has this nasty little habit of shutting us down and muting us out. So right now, I'm going to ask that everybody who is on the live like, comment, share, etc., put it on your pages and etc. DJ Marcus Alonso is in the house. Celine, what's up? Okay, sunny Florida. All right. Okay, now let's talk a little bit about some things that are coming up. Okay, first of all, I want to give Sultan a big round of applause for a great event last Friday night on St. Patty's Day. Unfortunately, I couldn't make it because I had another thing that night, but my team went, Soulful House Nation represented it, and they had a great time. Everybody was there, had a lot of fun. I need to tell you, Soulful Messiah and Mark Francis did their thing. Sage was the hostess. She did her thing, and it was a great time to have for all. Big shout out to SMB Entertainment Group, Sultan and the team there for putting on another great event. So, fantastic. All right. Okay, so some other things that are coming. So this Friday night, Casio is shooting a video. He's having a live video shoot at Hook and Reel in Bayonne. It's going to start at 8 p.m. and go to 12. Now, Casio's got a new tracks. He's got new stuff coming out. If you looked at last week's interview, you saw some of those things. Of course, Battle on the Dance Floor is one of his major hits. And as a matter of fact, it's out now. And you can get it on TrackSource and all the major platforms. Go get it. And this Friday, we'll be shooting a video at Hook and Reel in Bayonne, New Jersey. So be aware of that. Excuse me. Oh, goodness gracious. I think I mentioned before I had a friend once die behind a sneezing. Of course, he was in his neighbor's closet at the time. Anyway, okay, all right. So listen, a few other things. I'm going to ask that everybody that is on the live share. Okay, now a few other things that you should be aware of. On March 21st and the 22nd, New Jersey House Music Conference Weekender. And that's going to be a big event. It's going to be artists. It's going to be DJs. It's going to be a panel. It's going to be and awards. And Dawood has taken the attitude that he wants to give them their roses while they can still smell them. So that's going to be another big event. That's going to be on on April 21st and April 22nd. Promises to be a great event. It's going to be at the Holiday Inn on Frontage Road in Newark. Easy place to get to. Also, too, for people who want to stay overnight, there's going to be arrangements there. So take us on that. This is the first ever time that's been done. Next, we have coming in April, the Aries event, Steve Davis, details to follow. Then also on May 20th, the House of Salima Designs in Tyrone Chablis. And I will get the date. I have another event that I want to tell you about that is coming up. I'm going to tell you about it a little bit later before we end. That's it. SMB is doing another event, the Pink and White. It's in honor of Alice Burwell, his wife that passed away, unfortunately, due to cancer. But that's going to be, I'm going to give you more information on that before we end this broadcast. That is also happening in May. All right, so listen, let's do this. Let's play that old school song by Cynthia Tucker. I wouldn't say it's really old school. It's a great song. Chuck, would you play the one that she did with Ricky Nelson? It's called Love Don't Love Nobody. And listen to her interpretation. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, so listen, just want to share this with you. This interview was a long time coming, connecting with Cynthia Tucker. And as you know, she's very, very hot in the house music field and our community. She's very well known, very liked, very sharp individual. We got to going and started talking. And we usually do the show for about an hour and a change. But in this case, it went 2 hours. So we're going to break it up. We're going to show part one today. And then we're going to pick it up next week and finish the other part. Now, a couple other things you should know that we have coming on. We have Tommy Davis coming up from Quantize. Also, too, we have Jeffrey C. Jeffrey C. is the gentleman that put the track together on, and I did the vocals. On his track, it's called Adrenaline Rush. It is now on TrackSource. So it was the Weekend Warrior. If you want energy, forget about it. This track is straight energy. Chuck, let's start the show with our special guest, Cynthia Tucker. So you can start that up. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I am DJ Dan, Soulful House Nation, coming to you live from the 8th floor. Here is our interview with Cynthia Tucker. You can catch it certainly on Facebook. We're on the website. We're on YouTube right now. We're on Vimeo. We're on Twitch and Roku. So you have multiple ways to watch this interview. And, of course, we're going to post it, continue to post it. So, chat, we're ready for you.
This meeting is being recorded.
Get ready. Ladies and gentlemen, I am DJ Dan, Soulful House Nation. I'm coming to you live from the 8th floor. Woo! We have a great one today. And again, I need to tell you, this has been several years in the making. So thank you so much, Cynthia, for coming out and spending time with our audience here. We got a lot to talk about, but we got plenty of time, which is always good. So anyway. So first of all, let's do like some of the easy stuff. Tell us a little bit about you and, how'd you get this started with music? So just talk to us. Uh-huh.
Well, I just have to start by saying thank you so much. I'm honored to be asked to be on the show. It has been several years in the making. It was this, it was that, it was scheduling. But here I am on the 8th floor, virtually. I made it to the 8th floor, y'all, virtually. So I also just, before I talk about me, I also just want to let you know that I am proud of you and the work that you do and have been doing. To see a man, a Black man, take on something and be passionate about it, but not just passionate, but to be consistent with it. Because many times people take up something and it comes and it goes, and when times get hard, or they quit. And so I'm proud that we have you in the industry, and that I don't know, what's in it for you, if there's some compensation. But what I do know is that at every event that I'm able to attend, you're there, you're smiling, you're in good spirits, you're welcoming, and you are pro house and pro music. And so to know and to see and to have interacted with you many times, I know that this is a passion, and it is that keeps it going, even when people don't get on board or people don't understand. So to see you continue to push through and keep Soulful House Nation going, I watch. I'm not just talking. I have watched many interviews from back when you did Antoine Qua, and I've just seen so many of them. I used to kind of sneak in when I was at work, and I'm telling on myself, and just kind of support that. So, but I really wanted to let you know that. So,
wow, I appreciate that. Just real quick, I really appreciate it. I'm going to say it's a love of it. But still, I don't know anybody who tires of hearing that whatever you do is appreciated. And I just want to say thank you. Thank you.
People need to know that.
Thank you.
People need to know when something is having an impact and when it is appreciated, because sometimes that helps keep you going, So
Sure.
I wanted to say that to you personally.
Thank
So
you. Thank you. Thank you.
To answer the question, a little bit about me. I have been singing for a really long time.
Okay.
I'm not gonna tell my age.
Well, I'm going to put you at 26, 27. So anyway.
Not gonna tell my age, but I come from a musical family. My father was the lead singer of a group called The Wheels, and they had a hit back in the 50s called My Heart's Desire. And my father sang, my father knew the Isley Brothers. My father performed at Apollo, and remembers, was it Lil Anthony, running under stages because the women were chasing after him. So the Isley Brothers used to rehearse in my grandmother's basement back up. My father was born and raised in the Bronx. His name is Rudolph Anderson, and my mom also could sing. My aunts, sing, and my siblings all are musical. My oldest brother managed my band at one point, and he can sing, play bass and drums. So my whole family, we grew up on Sundays after church. On weekend, we would have sing-alongs as a family. My father would get on the keyboard, and we would sing. Now, also about me, I'm very shy. Yes. So I was the one who I did not appreciate my voice. I always felt awkward about it, I remember my dad making me join the children's choir, and when the director went around and asked each person to sing a little something, I didn't do anything. And it just was about my own insecurities, about my voice at that time, I didn't know that I could sing. I just was shy about my voice. I remember when phones came. Remember phones where you used to leave a message and it was your own voice? You would say something like, "Hey, I'm not home right now, but leave a message."
Yeah.
And when I would call to check my messages, I hated the sound of my voice on the phone recordings. And even now, sometimes I'll do something and I'll go to listen back. And in the moment, like I thought I was killing it. And then when I go listen back, I'm like, oh, and it's like I hear the imperfections and I hear, little things that I'm critiquing myself, like, hey, I could have did that differently. I could have did that. I should have did this. So it took me a really, really long time to become comfortable hearing my own voice.
Wow. Let me, like you just hit so many hot buttons with me. Okay, first of all, you come from a family that sang. I didn't. And you talk about you didn't appreciate your singing. Nobody appreciated my singing. That's why. That's why I started DJing and doing interviews, because forget about singing. And one other thing too, another hot button you just hit for me. I do remember those phones that the message, you take the message. And the first time I heard my voice, I was so embarrassed. I said, I can't believe I've been walking around like this my whole life.
Same here.
You were hitting hot buttons all over me. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. So,
yeah. Wow. How about?
Go ahead.
No. Yeah.
I was just going to say that, time changes things.
Right.
Time. I still beat myself up, and I still am very critical of my work, and but I've become much more comfortable in the performance arena. I feel like that's my comfort zone. That's where I can just be me. And it took me time to get to the place where I was comfortable to do that. But because I've been performing for so long and in so many different venues, I do hosting. And I often say that sometimes hosting is about the art of talking about nothing. Right? I host weddings and birthday parties and different events. And one thing that's the same from whether I'm singing or just talking, right? Hosting somebody's reception at their wedding. And many times I don't know anyone. But I'm comfortable. I'm able to find something, because there's things that whether you know somebody or not that you can connect with. Right. And when you've done a thing, for so long, you just find what those things are, and you're able to just kind of start a conversation with anybody and engage people. And that's kind of about what performing is, So because of doing it for so long, I've become very comfortable performing. Still not always crazy about, hearing my voice back or hearing, just me, but I'm able to engage with people and, been able to make a lot of money doing that. So,
okay. Hey, there is a lesson in this for someone that I'm sure there's someone who's going to see this, because tomorrow when this goes out, we're on multiple platforms. We're on, of course, Facebook, but that's the least of it. Twitch, that's the least of it. Vimeo, but we're on Twitter, Twitch. I mean, Twitter. I don't know, a bunch of different platforms. But we get between 2,200 and 2,400 live views. And somebody's going to hear you say that and says, you know, I have a voice too. I've been a little shy about it. I've been a little intimidated about it. I've been a little afraid because when I listen to my voice back, I'm like, and I think a lot of that is what you're saying is just getting comfortable. And here's one of the things I want to say before I move on with that. You know, if you can't sing, people are going to let you know. So if they keep bringing you back, then maybe you don't have the comfort. Maybe you see all the flaws. It's kind of like let's say if you work in the kitchen and you serve the food, you know all the stuff that's going on in the kitchen.
Right.
But that doesn't mean that when I see the food, I say, my goodness, look at that presentation. Look how it's so good. You mean how you go?
Right.
Anyway,
Right.
so somebody out there, be encouraged, stay encouraged, and try it. Huh?
Right.
Yeah.
That's right. And if to anyone that feels, like that, keep doing it, because it's the only thing that will take away fear, and the only thing that will take away shyness or being, not having that confidence is to keep doing it. You have to keep pushing through and continue to do it, and time will, work out those kinks. You'll grow in it, and that's what it is with anything. How do you get better at anything? Practice, to keep doing it. So I guess what I can say, and I don't say I guess, I know one thing that I can say about me is that I am resilient, and I don't have, even though I, kind of beat myself up, it's really not fear that I have. Some uncertainty, maybe about how it will be received, but when I'm performing in the moment, that goes away. And that's just because over time, I like to, I've learned to kind of just, get lost and enjoy what I'm doing. And if first I enjoy it, then I can help you enjoy. If I'm not enjoying myself,
right,
how can I help you enjoy yourself? I can't, right?
You're right.
So once I, relax, I understand that when I'm in, certain arenas, I'm in my zone, and you can't knock me off my square when I'm in my zone.
Hey.
No.
All right. Now, how about some of the popular people that you listen to that you felt were influences that you just, love what they did back in the day, and some people now maybe it's you like, yeah.
Well, first of all, I love music.
Okay, now.
I love music, and my father, when we were younger, he encouraged us and made us listen to all types of music, and we had our music or R&B that we gravitated to, but we used to ride in the car, and my father would say, okay, you've listened to 15 or 20 minutes of this, now you're going to listen to 10 or 15 minutes of that. And that was good for us. At the time, we just wanted to hear what we wanted to hear. Right. But because of that coaching, I'll call it, from my father, I was exposed to all genres of music. And not only that, when I started in music, it was not singing, really. I played flute.
Oh, really? Didn't know that.
So I read music.
Okay, all right.
I heard this woman, her name was Portia Lagaris, and she played the flute, and it was just the most beautiful. It seemed so delicate and graceful that she was, and she, when she played. And so I wanted to play the flute, and so I was in 5th grade, and my parents got me a flute, and I began to take flute lessons in school, which I played in the school band and, performances throughout elementary school. And back when, I'm really telling my age, back when Ferris High School in Jersey City
Okay.
Started in arts, a performing arts program. This was after like remember Fame,
Sure, of course.
movie Fame. So as a result of that movie, schools began to integrate and bring in music programs into the school and with a bigger focus, so that someone who was had kind of tapped into their music artistry or whatever art it was, there was a platform in the school that you would get your education, but there was a focus on art. And so I when I got out of elementary school and went to high school, I entered, you had to audition, and I forget what I played, but I got in, and I got in for a flute. And it was while I was there that, because now I'm surrounded by all these musicians and singers, and we would walk the hall singing, and it was just music everywhere. And so I was in this performance, and it was an opera performance of Carmen. And we performed it at what's it in Jersey City? It's no longer Casino in the Park.
Oh, I know that. I've been there.
And when I was in it, I didn't play flute, I sang. And so that was kind of the beginning of other people hearing me sing and saying, oh, you actually could do that. Still, at that time, I was really, really shy. And then at one point, my dad went back to school late in life, and he taught music in Patterson School District.
Patterson?
Yeah.
Patterson? I'm from Patterson.
All right now.
Born and raised Patterson. Pattersonian through and through. I'm sorry. I just had a moment. I'm in Patterson right now.
Okay. So he taught at two schools in Patterson, and that's where he retired from. But he also taught music at a music school in Long Island. And one time I was on punishment. I forget what I did, but the punishment, I had to go with my father to Long Island to where he was teaching at. I guess the punishment was that I had to stay with Daddy.
Okay. All right.
So, at the time, he was coaching a young lady who had a recital coming up, and she was going to be singing Home, the song Home from the Wiz.
Okay.
So I'm going to circle back to what your question was, because you asked me about influence. And the song was absolutely beautiful. And my father was coaching her so that she could perform in the recital. And while I was there, I learned the song. And so influence, Stephanie Mills.
Sure.
Love her. Had the opportunity to see her recently at NJ Pack.
Okay.
She performed her and the Whispers. And I lost it. I was just in my glory.
The beat
loved
goes
it. I've seen Shaka Khan perform live several times. I'm a huge fan. But I also love Celine Dion.
Oh yeah.
Whitney Houston, of course. I like songs by the Beatles. And I can't say I have a favorite artist, because there's so many. There's so many. I love Prince. Absolutely love Prince. I like Eric Benet. I like oh my God, Rasan Patterson. And then there's the gospel greats, the Clark sisters, and Vanessa Armstrong, and I could never say, oh well, so and so is my absolute favorite, because at different points in your life, different music has a different effect, has an effect on you. And I have some songs that when I'm cleaning my house, that's what I go to. And then I have some songs when I'm feeling music. There's music that I listen to when I'm preparing to perform.
Oh,
and
really? Okay.
it's usually, house. And so I love Dawn Tallman and Barbara Tucker, and I love Viola Sykes, and I listen to their music, when I'm trying to get myself ready. I'm doing makeup and I'm doing what I'm doing, but I'm mentally preparing to do what it is that I'm about to do, a performance, whatever have you. So, I mean, I listen to all types of music, and I love jazz.
Okay.
I was actually blessed to do a jazz concert in a country called Suriname back in
Sure. Okay.
Suriname, yes, back in 2018,
Okay.
and they brought me. And they treated me like you would have thought Patti LaBelle was coming to town. That it was a beautiful experience. But so Billie Holiday, and I can't say I have a favorite. I love good music. I love great music.
Okay.
So
Speaking of that, something that a lot of people may know that I really like. I mean, like, look, I love hip hop, R&B. Of course, I like reggae, I like reggaeton, I like all kinds of music there. But here's something I think a lot of people don't know that I really love: blues. I love blues. And the first time it really caught my attention, because you mentioned Patti LaBelle and different times. Because Patti LaBelle, remember the movie Soldier Story? I don't know if you remember that, with Denzel Washington and Adolfo, whatever God his name was. And Patti LaBelle was doing a set in there. She was singing in their little club, and she was doing blues. And I was like, whoa. I mean, that's the first time I was checking for it. Matter of fact, not this Tuesday, but the Tuesday before, I went to Brooklyn to hear this blues band. So
okay.
I mean, I that's a personal favorite, Anyway. So let me ask you this: how did you get into house music? How did that happen?
How did I get into house music? Well, bless you.
Oh, thank you. Just been nursing a little. I said we're good though.
Okay.
Yeah. How'd you get into house music?
I got into house music in 2017.
Okay.
I had I was honored to meet Mr. Cassio Ware.
Oh, yes. We just had him on last week.
Yes, I saw that. I saw that great interview, him and Frankie.
Yeah.
But I met him because I was singing. I was out at a place called Ideals in Newark, and they had like a karaoke DJ who happens to the DJ is a good friend of mine. I used to be in his band.
Okay.
That was my release. Like, I would work late, and sometimes, I would go on a Thursday, go, have a drink and sing. And
Okay.
Cassio knew JoJo, the karaoke host, and he said, well, you should talk to him because he's legit.
Okay. All right.
And I eventually, listened to him, and got the opportunity to see, because I had never heard of him.
Okay.
Had never heard of him, and he would say, Google me.
Okay.
So I did, and I found out that he had done a lot. He'd had a big impact, and he happened to be working on a project called My Grandmother Told Me, and actually he was writing a book, and the book was going to kind of coincide with the album, so that all the songs from the album would support the different messages and that he was giving in the book. And he said that he had a song that he had written with me in mind, and he wanted me to record it.
Okay.
So and that was Strung Out. That was a song called Strung Out.
Okay.
And so that was my introduction to house music. Now, prior to that, I had written a song called Never Give Up.
Okay.
And when I wrote it, it was like during this huge storm. And once I wrote it and recorded it, I didn't know what to do with it.
Oh, okay.
Meaning I didn't know how to get it outside of me,
Right.
and heard. But I had a good friend, who you may or may not, but DJ Rich Williams.
Sure. Of course. I interviewed him. He does the Sunday night gospel house.
Yes.
Yes.
So
yes.
I knew him because we went to the same church, and his wife and I were on the praise team together.
Okay.
And I remember when he started that platform. And so because I knew that he did it, he would do things called like mashups, the DJs
Okay.
do.
Sure.
And so I sent him the song, and I asked him, hey, can you give this a dance, make it danceable, make it, and he took it, and he took that song, and when it came back to me, like I was blown away. I was like, what? I was blown away. So he's still a very good friend of mine. Him and his wife. I know his whole family. I remember when his kids were born. So anyway, but I didn't have the platform to be able to perform it. So I just kind of like had it. And when he was doing his gospel Sunday night, he would spin it. And I would tune in, and he would give me props, and he would shout me out and whatnot. Now I love him for that. But that was way before 2017. So it was in 2017 that I first recorded Strung Out with Casio, and then I asked him to write me something. Well, he had written something else, but I then told him that, hey, I would like some lyrics that I really could kind of get with. And so he wrote Independent Woman.
Oh, okay. All right.
I recorded that. So Strung Out, you never forget your first, right?
Oh, without a doubt.
But Strung Out, the lyrics, I didn't always like singing those lyrics, because the idea of being strung out, I mean, as a woman of my age, like I know what it is to be.
Okay.
I know what it is to have been strung out, and like somebody had me, like I was like, and it wasn't happening, so I wanted to kind of sing positive and stuff that I really could represent, that represents me. And so he wrote Independent Woman, and so that's kind of was the start of it, those two songs. And it's been
wow. Well, I know you've done some other stuff with him too. Musical tricks, politics, and all that kind of stuff like that. That was you singing the hook.
Yeah.
I know. Now, where do you see house music headed? What do you see?
House music is not going away.
Right.
It's not going away. It's not. I hear people talk about someone saved house music, or someone. There's always been music that I guess you would say underground. There's always been that. When you think back to some of the first underground music, think about like slaves running away from. They used music. They used, there were certain songs that they would sing, and it meant something.
Right.
And so there's gonna always be house music. It will always be, because there's an audience for it.
Right, definitely.
There's an audience for it, and there's people like yourself. There's there's people that's gonna keep it going. I hear different thought processes that young people need to be involved, and I agree with that, because anyone looking for longevity the new is going to come whether you embrace it or not.
Right.
And if you don't, it's going to roll over you and keep going. So when you think about artists in any genre who has kept relevant and still doing what they're doing, and they've embraced
Mhm.
some of the new, but it is a balance,
Right.
there's a balance that needs to happen. But house music, I think it could be bigger
Mhm.
than what it is,
Right.
because there's an audience that, if you look overseas, when I think about CC Rogers and Barbara Tucker and some of the greats, the
Mhm.
superstars of house,
Right.
um, what is it that keeps them relevant, keeps them going? Their audience, there is not the local, we talk about Jersey house, and that's great that Jersey has that market and is able to, but it's a big world.
Mhm.
It's a huge world. When I talk about how I went to Suriname, many people have never heard it, but there
Right.
was a market. There was a market for what I did, and it was embraced and it was celebrated. And so when you go overseas, there's a mindset that I think CC Rogers told me, like, once you're a hit, you're a hit.
Mhm.
And they don't throw you out because you didn't have something come out this week or this year. And
Mhm.
they can go, and sing something that they came out with 25 years ago, and the
Right.
market and the market and the love and appreciation is still there. So house isn't really, it's not going anywhere. It's what we decide to do with it. Is how far, you decide for yourself how far you want to go, how high, how you want to work your situation. But as a music, it's not going anywhere. It's not going anywhere, just like jazz is not going anywhere. They
Right.
say you talk about jazz being back in the day. No, there's a market for jazz
Mhm.
right now, and it's not going anywhere.
Let me, like, again, like, you've been hitting hot buttons with me all day today. Let me share a couple thoughts with you, and just my thoughts. All right. You talk about there's always been underground music, and that is true. Whether, hey, look, jazz started underground, all right, but everything that goes mainstream started underground. Okay, hip hop started underground.
Absolutely.
Rock and roll started underground. R&B started underground. Gospel start. I mean, let's go back to the slave, the beats and stuff that they used to do. They brought from that was all underground. They had ways. So so whatever goes mainstream always starts underground, and there will always be that audience. Okay, let me just a couple of more hot buttons. This is my thoughts, and just share. So let's talk about what these things have done. Now, to be fair, let's say you talk about Motown. That's typically going to be, and it's going to be a more mature crowd. Notice I didn't say older; I said more mature. Anyway, but now watch hip hop. Hip hop started 50 years ago. Now it's adjusted to the times or whatever, and maybe the people that listen to hip hop today are not feeling, say, maybe the music when people call the golden era of the 90s. But then some of the people from the 90s are not feeling today's hip hop. But at the same time, hip hop did not go away. It continued to evolve. And if you look at good music, good music continues to flow. Now, in the house music community, there's an audience. Now, I have two thoughts on that. I just want to see what you think too. All right. So house music started really back in the 80s for the most part. And, coming out, and people argue back and forth, Chicago, and Chicago's taking more credit for it than New York, because Frankie Knuckles was from New York. I mean, you can go back and forth on that. But that music is still here today. 40 plus years, it's still here. All right. We've seen a surgence of it in the festivals and the clubs, so we're seeing all that happen. So I think good music is good music. Now, one last thing I would say that for all intents and purposes, say the people who were, say, teenagers, because that's when a lot of people pick up their music. We still haven't conquered all the baby boomers and the ones that follow that. So we still have that audience. So we have all that upside too. Anyway, let me get off my rant here for a minute. But that's just, anyway, just my thoughts. So I'm agreeing with you that it's going nowhere. If anything, it's going to grow. All right. I'm done. I have my little say. I'll put my
We agree.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
Yeah. So wow. Yeah. Anyway. So let's talk about the music.
Okay.
So what makes a good song?
Oh, wow. For me, a great song invokes feeling.
Okay.
For me, a great song, it speaks to you. If you listen to anything that doesn't make you feel something, whether it's happy, sad, rage, whatever, it's mediocre. Good music makes you feel something, something. And for me, when I listen to music, I listen to hear, are there any, so let me just rewind a little bit. What I don't like is music that all begins to sound the same. And I would say that is one of the things in house music that has room for growth.
Okay.
Because songs come out every day.
Oh, for sure.
The market is oversaturated. It's saturated. And I don't take anything, hey, do what you do and enjoy what you do. But just because you can sing and or play doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be something that is for everyone. And so what I find with house music is that a lot of it sounds the same. So when I'm listening for something, is the beat different than what I just heard in the last 5 songs? And I know that DJs, when they're mixing, and when I'm not a DJ, but I would imagine that you're looking for some level of consistency with beats and stuff like that, because there needs to be a smooth transition from one song to the other. Is that accurate?
Yes, it is accurate.
Okay. But if all of the songs sound the same, then you tune out.
Right. Gotcha.
You begin to tune out, because music should make you feel something. And if you keep hearing the same thing, now that's not to say that when there's a great song, you don't want to hear it over and over and over.
Right.
There's some songs that I listen to and I put them on repeat, because each time I hear them, they still excite me. They still make me feel something. But for me, a good song has some other elements besides a beat. I like to hear vocal harmony. I came from choir and praise teams and singing together. And back when I was in school, we used to get in the hallway and just vocalize. And that was where people use their ear to hear, okay, you singing first, I'm gonna sing second, I'm gonna sing third, and you were looking for that blend. So I listen for, is there other instrumentation besides keyboard and a drum? I just had the honor. Oh my God, I can't wait for this to be released. I'm not gonna say the name of it yet, but I was working with Ricky Nelson, who I absolutely love. I call him the maestro.
Okay.
And he has a name for me. He calls me I won't he calls me sensational. And it's just a respect. It's just a respect that, like I respect his ear, his talent, his gift. And he's just a joy, to work with. Just like certain studios you go to and it's like, but when I'm there, it's just like, let's do this. And he's so supportive. But that's a whole nother conversation.
Okay.
But in working with him this last, we actually did it on my birthday in November. And we had a live horn sax.
Oh, wow.
To come in. Good friend of mine, his name is James White. He has a band, and I've worked with his band. He's doing wonderful things. But brought in, some live instrumentation. Music encompasses so many things, There's drums, yeah. There's congas, there's clarinets, there's all type. There's hundreds and hundreds of instruments that we don't, you don't hear that, and there's beauty in that. And so I look for, what other elements are in, the music. I once heard the great Barbara Tucker say, I had just met her, and this was in, it might have been 2018 or late 2017, and she had just come back from overseas, and I was happy to be sitting at a table. This was at Tony Humphrey's birthday party at the cricket club.
Oh, I was there.
Were you there?
She had green hair that day, right?
So she was there, and I was just kind of, I was really new to the house industry, and Casio had made the introduction, and he was introducing me to, DJs and artists. And she said some DJs wanted to give her music, tracks. And I got something for you, I got something for you. And she, she was very gracious, and she said it to me. She said, is this, I want to make sure that there's some instruments on it. And I think that's, I agree with that. Like I said, I grew up playing the flute. So think about what Frankie Knuckles, there was the song, right?
Yeah, flute,
right. Yeah. But you want to hear something different that taps into other emotions and other parts of who you are. And so when you hear, some production, different tracks and whatnot, for me, I want to make sure, and if it's not there, maybe we can fatten it up. Maybe we can beef it up. Like, can we bring in a guitar? Can we bring in a horn? Can we bring in, something? Because after a while, all the music could sound the same. So that's what I look for. Is it, I don't want to sound like somebody else, right? Let somebody else be somebody else. And it's a big enough, it's music. You have music from all over the world that sounds different because they use different instrumentation. They use there's different nuances. And so I look for, is it different than what I'm here, than everything else I've heard, and does it speak to me? Does it move me? Maybe it's the lyrics. I like to try to sing positive lyrics. I don't particularly care to sing about sexual lyrics and, things like that. I think when you can find topics that everybody could relate to. I did a song called Love, Peace, and Joy. We haven't released it yet. It's on the Soulful Sold Out House label with
Okay.
Freeze
Okay.
from Atlanta. And but that's a topic that everybody can relate to, right? Don't we all need love, and we all need peace and want peace, and we all want a level of joy, right?
Right.
So I think lyrics are songs that uplift. I did a song with Ricky Nelson called "This Is For You," and it is almost like a tribute to women and issues that we all can relate to. So I like music that has a message, has a or a theme, because even if it's not, if it's just love, peace, and joy is the theme of it is this is what the world needs right now, and regardless, and it's timeless, because regardless of where we are in time, love, peace, and joy is a need, So that's what music I like and what speaks to me.
All right. Hey, you raise a lot of good points. Now, I'm going to tell you, as a DJ, you want to keep, for the most part, when it's dancing time, you want to keep the energy up. You want to keep the beats, you want to match. You want to play in key as much as you can. Those are basic things. But programming is the number one issue. But when you're playing for a dance crowd, the programming and your ability to mix the beats go hand in hand. But now you're adding another element that I'm just thinking as we're talking, very, very powerful. Okay, so you can play those songs, you play classic, play hip, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, what makes this song stand out? Instruments, especially in this age of electronic music, we don't hear a lot of instruments. And when you do hear an instrument, it's very, very powerful. Now you can simulate it, let's say with a keyboard, and especially with some of the software. But you really, in house music, maybe have vocals, but you hear the drum, obviously the kick, you hear the snares, and you hear some other things, but there's not a lot of horns. There's not a lot of guitars. There's not a lot of xylophones or anything like that. So you raised a very good point. And
but they're croaky.
Huh?
Think about the Frankie Knuckles song.
Yeah, the whistle song. Right?
It stands out. Think about Josh Milan.
Yes, forget about it. Uh-huh.
Think about it, right?
Yeah.
With the horn, the ba da ba ba. As soon as you hear that, it's that song, right?
Right. You do.
Yes, to your point. I understand that it works together, and when you take a song and you're figuring out where to put it, where to play, that's for you to do, right? I'm not a DJ, don't claim to be one. I don't know how that works.
Mm-hmm.
I just know when I'm looking for what it is, and I trust the DJ to be able to make it work, right?
Mm-hmm.
If they want to play the song, they will figure out how, because that's your expertise. For me, listening to a song, whether I'm going to do it or not, those are the elements that I'm looking for, because I need to be excited and it needs to speak to me in order to do it.
Interesting.
For me.
Interesting. Again, just to go back to what you were saying, live instruments certainly can add an element to a track. And live instruments can be played on house music just like anything else. There's probably a lot of reasons it's not done, but that would be a very interesting element to add to a lot more house tracks. So I think
it will also help if you talk about singing.
Oh goodness! Oh, my wife is.
Do you need to take that call?
No. It's like, All I can tell you is
She gonna see this.
sometimes her timing is incredible. Put it that way. I'm gonna leave it at that. But anyway. So anyway.
But Dan, when you talk about things going mainstream and what is it going to take to push it into other formats and make it go, mainstream. If you could incorporate live instrumentation, would that help?
I think so. I think
so.
so. I think really do. Because I'm sitting here just going through it in my head and thinking about that.
Because now you would be bringing in another group of people to you would be bringing in another group of people, those musicians who play live, who that's what they do. Now there's a place for them in this platform. And when you think about, the Motown and the different music, they did a lot of, everything was live. Not only that, if you want to make this for everyone, then you have to do things that speak to, on some level, everyone, right? How many more people would be in a club if a record that they were on playing? How many more people would be there if the horn player or the flute player and brought his family? I say, hey, they spinning this tonight, and I'm on that. Right.
This is the first time, and I'm really happy we're having this conversation, that in all interviews I've done, I don't remember, unless I missed it, and it's possible I missed it, that we've had this conversation about how bringing live instruments can really impact our music, impact the house music community, bring in other people. Because usually we just talk about bringing in other demographics. We don't talk about bringing in instruments for the most part. So anyway, I'm really, I'm receiving it. And it's got my head like going, wait a minute, that's going nuts. I mean, maybe I go the other way, but it's got me like, oh, yeah. I never thought about that. So thank you for that.
These days, right, DJs are taking old school music, or what we would call old school music, right? And they putting a beat to it. The instrumentation is there, right? They're not taking that off. They got the song, and I love this song, the God Favored Me, Hezekiah Walker, right?
Yes.
All of the elements, the components of that song are there, live instrumentation and all, whatever it was, the component, and they put a beat to it. So you're doing it. You know what I'm saying? They're taking songs, the Yolanda Adams, Still I Rise. And they took a part of it, right? And they made it house. The elements of the song, whatever live instrumentation or instruments that were on it when she did it are there.
Okay.
It's there, right? So it's not that you can't do it. They're taking songs home.
Right.
Stephanie Mills. They took the song and all the instruments that were there. They didn't cut that out.
Right.
They added to it. So it can be done. I mean, it's just.
How about this track called, are you ready for this one?
I'm ready.
Love Don't Love Nobody.
Love Don't Love Nobody was a classic, right?
I know. And who did that track? And I was like, I like this too. I wonder who did that track and put a house beat on it. I wonder who sang that. You know what? As a matter of fact, I'm gonna play it.
Okay.
I was like, okay. Would you tell them who did that track? Did a version of that? Huh?
That was the incomparable, the maestro, Mr. Ricky
That's
Nelson.
right, Ricky Nelson. And who did the vocals?
And that would be my vocal.
Absolutely.
My vocal. And
Oh.
I love what he did with that. And he is an amazing guitar
Yes.
player.
Yes. Yes.
So because he plays, you know, he brings that to what he does. You know, he plays all those instruments and so
Very talented.
very talented he is.
Very talented.
I would hope that you would interview him at some point.
I did interview him.
Did you? I missed that one. You'll have to.
Yeah. No, it was a great interview. Like, he's very, very talented. And I know he does a lot of stuff with Charles Dixon too. So,
Yes.
I mean, very, 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 very extremely talented. Extremely talented.
Extremely.
You know,
And he has worked with, I mean,
name it.
the one of the Pointer Sisters, I believe, and oh my God, I can't think of. There's another singer, very famous.
Right.
He's just an awesome, well-rounded.
I agree.
If you didn't know about him, you wouldn't think that all this talent was wrapped up in somebody so gracious and so supportive and so humble. But it's awesome
Yes.
guy. Yeah.
I agree. More than 1,000%. Extremely talented. Extremely tuned in.
Mhm.
And you know, I've always heard good things about him, but I mean, his talent is incredible. Look, listen, think about this: sings, writes, plays instruments. Look at me. Don't sing, don't write, don't play instruments. I mean, I can appreciate it. I can
And
appreciate it.
you are.
Huh? Very, very.
Because it's all needed. You know,
Yes.
it's all needed. You need the marketing piece.
Uh-huh.
You need the promotion piece. You need DJs. You need it all. You know, nobody can do this by yourself. And one of the things I heard Cassio and Frankie, you cannot do this by yourself. It takes, you know, you can have the best vocals, but if you don't have a track, if you don't have something to sing
Right.
to, if you got a great track but it's not being heard, and then in order to get heard, you know, there's the networking, knowing who to, and that takes time, but you need all the pieces. You know, you need the A floor and so forth.
Preach, sister. I knew you grew up in the church. So preach.
and then you also need those visionaries. You know, you need those visionaries who are able to take all the components,
right,
and move it to here. You know, it's a little bit here, a little bit here, and so you have those people who promote like the big concerts and the big events, the you know, events in the park and whatever have you, and you know, give other people a platform to come and share what it is that they do. So it's all needed. You got the people who make the t-shirts,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, you're right.
Who create merchandise and who come up the branding.
Yes.
It takes all of that, you know, to make it happen.
I'm gonna rant for 1 minute because again, you've been like hitting hot buttons in my head all day today. You know, one of the things that we have not capitalized on is that
Get ready, ladies and gentlemen. I am DJ Dan, Soulful House Nation, coming to you live from the 8th floor. Hey, listen, you just heard the first half of the interview with Cynthia Tucker. We're going to come back next week with part 2. This interview was so good, we had to keep it going. And we just decided, hey, we're just going to split it up into 2 parts. Up next, the Shazam Free Zone. We got all new music coming in, including our new track, the track I did with Jeffrey C. called Adrenaline Rush, and also the new track by King T Finesse called Let 'Em Go. So that and some more stuff. And the thing about the Shazam Free Zone, we play all new music, and not only do we play the music, but we tell you what it is. And you can decide if you like it or you don't like it, whatever. Throw some hearts up, throw some emojis up if you like it, and then we'll go from there. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I am DJ Dan, Soulful House Nation, coming to you live from the 8th floor. Get ready, get ready, get ready. Chuck, start us off with Cynthia Tucker, You're the One. Here we go.